Hi, Year 6. So, Friday, already done our first week back after half term. It's flown by, and thankfully, there should only be one more week, and then we can all get back into school. That will be incredible. I, for one, am very much looking forward to that. So, Friday, big read. Bit of a starter for you. The first thing I'd like you to do, please, don't know where L orders come from. Must have been typing Elliot in a box and thinking it was going into one place and it went into another one. Ignore that, it should just say order. What I'd like you to do, I'd like you to take these different events that all happen in chapter 9. At the moment, the order that I've said they go in is incorrect. I'd like you to put them in chronological order, please. So you can either write out the sentences or you can just change the numbers alongside them. That's completely up to you. But I'd like you to put them from number 1 needs to be the first thing of the 5 that happens, going through to number 5 being the last of those 5 events to take place in chapter 9. You might need to skim read over chapter 9 again. You might need to reread chapter 9 fully again. But one way or another, I'd like those ordering, please, into the correct chronological order, or the correct chronological L order, if we're taking whatever on earth ended up being written on just there. When you've done that, start the video again, and then I'll talk to you about the rest of today's session. But go and have a go at that, and I'll speak to you again in a moment. Okay, so a bit of a recap on yesterday's lesson. Normally Thursday would be one of our wider reading lessons where we look at something to do with the text to help us broaden our understanding of what's going on in that text. However, because it was the shorter week, yesterday was actually our inference day. So you had questions like this. Why is Virgo surprised that the council have told her that Thanos, I'm going very Marvel Cinematic Universe there. Why is Virgo surprised that the council have told her that Thanatos is dead? And the answer would be something along the lines of, Virgo is surprised that the council says Thanatos is dead because, and then you've got your quote, he seemed thoroughly alive this morning. So she saw him, literally saw him alive. So you would not expect him to therefore be referred to as dead. So today, as ever, on our Friday is all about reading with prosody. That's making sure we're reading with that clarity, right volume, using punctuation, so acknowledging that punctuation is there and pausing appropriately for that punctuation, and using the speed in your tone to build tension and engage your listener. You can choose any pages you'd like from chapter 9, sorry. I don't mind, doesn't have to be the beginning. It can be any 2 pages you particularly like, or 4 pages if you want to send a little bit more, but I'd like you to record yourself reading aloud, please, and then send that in to me. I'm going to give you a bit of a model here. I'm going to read you all of sort of page 96 onto a little bit of page 97. This chapter particularly is really good for practicing reading aloud with prosody, because there's lots of characters and lots of speech and lots of drama and excitement and anger and emotion to try and get through. So if you want to give yourself a challenge, try and choose a later section of this chapter, potentially sort of page 99 onwards, where the Zodiac Council are all arguing about Virgo and her deeds, because that will be a really good chance for you to show off your very best prosody. But my model then. Chapter 9, Bad Counsel. Elliot had always dreamt of flying in an aeroplane. As his family couldn't afford a holiday abroad, he had wondered what it would be like to view the world from thousands of meters up in the air. But after 5 minutes of flying by Constellation, Elliot swore his feet would never leave the ground again. He knew Virgo had saved his life, but now Elliot worried he was in danger of losing it again, as his body spun wildly, climbing ever higher in the blinding glare of Virgo's constellation. He felt like a sock in a tumble dryer, a sock that was about to throw up its breakfast. Just as Elliot lost all sense of which end was up, his flight came to an abrupt halt. "What are you trying to—" he began, before being dumped on a pile of surprisingly firm cloud. as Virgo's constellation flowed elegantly down to reform as her physical self. Ow! You didn't have to drop me. You're lucky I didn't drop you halfway across the Aegean Sea, said Virgo, running her fingers through her long silver hair. You're heavier than you look, and you're welcome, by the way. So, as you can see, I'm pausing every time there's a piece of punctuation. I am pausing for commas, but I am pausing for a longer period of time when there are full stops. I'm also using pauses where I think there needs to be an emphasis, whether that's on the word I've just said or the word I'm about to say, where I'm trying to engage the reader and make them really pay attention to what I'm saying. I'm raising my tone, changing my volume. I'm also varying my speed. All of these things are key parts of your prosody. It's best to read ahead. So sometimes it's worth reading over a text slightly before you begin to read it out loud. I'm very familiar with these first 2 pages because I've looked at them a lot for planning work for you, doing all that sort of thing. So I've read over it several times, which allows me to read it better out loud. So I'm looking forward to hearing these from you. It's always really nice because it's fantastic seeing your work, but actually hearing you is brilliant. It makes me feel like I'm back at school again. And thankfully we will be soon. Best of luck with that. I'll be back with your last video for English and Big Read, this time your English video, in a little bit. So I'll speak to you then. But for now, that's everything from me. Goodbye.